Planning Commission of 2026. Thank you for being here. We'll begin tonight with a Pledge of Allegiance and then invocation. If you will, please rise and with me and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Let us pray. Heavenly Father, we thank you for your grace and your mercy you give us every single day. We thank you for this past year you've blessed us with, perhaps ups and downs, long journeys, obstacles, but you've allowed us to manage to go through 2025, and you've allowed us to go on to 2026. We ask for your clarity, your growth for the great city of Springdale here, and the well-being and safety of all the residents of Springdale and our great nation, the U.S. We ask for guidance as we embark on these items on this agenda here tonight. Ask for guidance, the best decisions for our citizens here in Springdale, and just give us wisdom, continue for our protection for everybody that is represented here tonight, all the families. And we thank you for your grace again and your mercy. We give you all the praise and all the glory. In Jesus' name, amen.
Thank you for that. So we'll be calling to order this meeting, January 6, 2026. Can we have a roll call?
Brent Couch,
Here.
Chris Hussein,
Here.
Clement Ogonyemi, Garrett Harlan,
Here.
Howard Austin, Jennifer Keith. Here. Mark Cloud,
Here.
Ray Cordial.
Here.
Teresa Reynolds.
Here.
Approval of minutes. This will be called for the vote.
Call for the vote.
Thank you. Passes 7-0. First up is, before we start, items that have been tabled tonight is B 26-02, Valor Volleyball, and B 26-05, McDonald's Restaurant. Both of those have been tabled for the night. We'll hear them at the next meeting. First up on the agenda, items that were tabled last meeting. First one is B 25-109, Melinda and David Brown. This is a variance request for a reduction in front setback from 30 foot to 20, increased front fence height from 3 foot to 6, presented by Melinda and David Brown. Hello, how are y'all?
I'm fine, how are you? I didn't understand I'm supposed to present anything.
Yeah.
But, we're requesting a variance, or a setback, an allocation to the setback from 30 foot to 20 foot. They had us put on there that we were asking to, increase the fence height from 3 foot to 6 foot, but our fence already 6 foot. It's, I guess it's in the guidelines that any front-facing fence is supposed to be 3 foot, but
Right.
our front-facing fence is
Yeah,
actually.
you have a corner lot, which
Yeah.
complicates things.
It's actually
Yeah.
already 6 foot. So, and it's for a pool project. We actually have a corner lot, so a large percentage of our backyard is actually our side yard. And so that's what we were requesting that for.
Very good, thank you. Any staff comments?
No, that city ordinance requires a 4-foot fence around a pool, minimum. So they have to go to 4 at least.
Correct. Thank you for that. Any public comments regarding this request? Commissioners, any questions for the applicants? If none, this will be called for the vote.
Call for the vote.
Thank you. Sorry, we have a little bit of technical difficulty with the names on the voting list. Passes 7-0, but we're not sure who voted for it. I know you are. Your request passed. Y'all can go sit down. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next up is public hearing rezoning. First item is R25-51, Perez Construction LLC. This is a request to rezone from. Also, within that, there's a preliminary plat that's been asked to approve and also a waiver of street improvements on North Oak. This is presented by Ferdinand Furry.
Hi, I'm Ferdinand Forey. Yes, this is a request to rezone it to a PUD to allow for a 40-lot, single-family subdivision. Included also is a waiver for street improvements along North Oak, which just essentially applies the cost of those improvements to be applied towards the improving the drainage crossing at North Oak currently there.
Thank you. Staff comments?
So for this project, we have the rezoning, the preliminary plat, and the waiver. I'll go ahead and get staff comments for the rezoning, but I would like to walk through the project a little bit and just talk about a few of the elements.
Sure.
So for this PUD, this project is a conventional single-family neighborhood, but those 40-foot lot width is what requires this PUD zoning. Staff comments is that the proposed rezoning is consistent with both the current surroundings, projected land uses in this area. The rezoning request is in keeping with the following goals and policies of the comprehensive land use plan and is recommended for approval. Protect the positive aspects of neighborhood character throughout the city. Appropriate locations for single-family and residential development should be provided based on accessibility, site suitability, utility availability, neighborhood compatibility, and environmental factors. And with the PUD development plan that laid this project out, I have a couple comments for the development plan itself. So for the exterior materials, I just want to note that staff is encouraging no vinyl, non-combustible materials. It's not a requirement, but it's a strong encouragement from the city. You mentioned, the last revision mentioned a playground in the common area, so if we have that, we need to call it out on the plat, provide spec sheet or comparable products so we know what it's gonna be. The mention of walking trails, if that's gonna be put on the plat and the details. And if there's a monument sign, the size and the materials, and revised covenants that go along with this. And then I think later we'll get to comments for the preliminary plat and the waiver. You wanna walk through the project a little bit before?
Sure.
So tell us a little bit about this, Ferdy.
Okay, so as far as this walking trails, we want to keep it natural habitat conservation area. And so we don't have plans to do any paved parking or walking trails or anything like that. So the playgrounds, yeah, we can add some more specification as far as that go. We considered some things like pickleball courts, but we'll have to see how that fit in on which lot we'll put that actually. And the monument sign, it'll be a landscape entry sign. It won't be anything excessive that, I believe would maybe require a separate permit on, I don't know.
And for this development, just to give a little overview, so we have 35 lots that are at the 0 lot line, use unit 9, and then 5 lots with a standard layout. The homes themselves, minimum 1,600 square feet. 35 of these lots are rear-loaded with garages served by the alleys, and the 5 lots are street-facing with facade and garages. Each home is required to have 2 covered garage spaces, 2 off-street driveway spots. There's 48 on-street parking spaces, 128 total, so you meet parking. Common open space, you meet 15% minimum, you're at a little over 25%. You meet the minimum size for the PUD. The density itself of this, with 40 lots on 11.92 acres, is 3.36 units an acre. The use of this is just residential, use 8 and 9, so standard single-family lots and 0 lot lines. And I would like to talk about the street improvements, Oak Street, and some of the drainage stuff as well, walk through some of those elements.
So North Oak Street is shown as a collector on the master street plan, but I think we all know it functions more like a local. It's very narrow. With this project, widening curb gutter sidewalk would be required for the full length of this property. The development team has proposed to, instead of doing all of those improvements, do just the street widening on the southern portion and then take what they would have spent on the rest of those improvements to contribute to upsizing the box culvert under Oak Street, since we know that it is very undersized. It floods often, and this would be in partnership with the city. So really this waiver request tonight is just kind of the concept of a partnership and using that street improvement money for drainage improvements. All of the details and costs would have to be worked out with city council, of course. And I guess if a no vote would be all improvements would need to be built.
I think there was a handout that was given you today with an updated letter that just kind of outlined some of these engineering details.
The width would be a minimum of 24 foot along the entire strength. So we would still widen it, because currently it's about 20 to 22 foot, and we'd still make it at least 24 foot wide for the entire length. And then we would do a ditch instead of a curb and gutter with underground drainage, and all of that savings would be applied towards the improving the crossing.
And since that culvert is half on their property, half on the next property, it would be something that the city would look at partnering with so we can get it done.
Any other comments from staff regarding either the waiver, of the street improvements, or any other item?
You want to get to the plat? Or
Yes, let's do the
Just
plat.
do the whole thing? Okay.
Yes.
Want to go through all comments and then take all the
Yes.
votes together? Okay.
Well, we'll do all comments,
I mean, and
then
then
do
the
public
votes.
comment, and then we'll do commissioner comments.
I had a few on the development plan, just some wording changes. In section E, curbs and streets, it's talking about driveway expansions. Does this apply to both rear and front load lots? For the rear load lots, there really wouldn't be a street cut because there's no standard curb and gutter, so we just need to clarify our words there. And whether driveway expansions are allowed only in the front, in the back, just those kinds of details. Our corner lots, 23 and 24, those are two of those standard ones. Are they allowed to have access to Street 1, which would be their side yard? Are there any restrictions to how the rear access easements can be used by the residents other than access, of course? For example, would they be allowed to fence in that area up until the alley? Would they be allowed to have a porch, patio, landscaping, et cetera? And then we need to include details about how the private alleys are to be maintained by the association. And I'll go into plat comments. Does the storm system need to be extended north to pick up drainage from the Huffman property? What is the spread in the street there? All street sections shall be determined by formal design with geotechnical analysis. Provide Oak Street Geotech report with recommendations. Update the right-of-way width note on Oak Street. Proposed public streetlights need to be shown in the right-of-way. We recommend moving the sidewalk adjacent to the parallel parking at the back of the curb or provide steps to get to the sidewalk periodically so people don't have to walk in the green space. The developer is required to improve the abutting street to City of Springdale standards in accordance with Master Street Plan, for which a waiver has been requested. Provide typical sections for local road, alleys, and collector. Submit a floodplain development application. That comment is no longer applicable. I asked for a new flood map, but I did actually get it in the flood study. We do have floodplain on this property. There's a very large drainage way through it. Our current flood maps in this area are quite old, so Ferdy's been working on updating this study to get us a more accurate picture of what we're actually looking at now. And he has updated the plat to keep all of the residential lots outside of the floodplain.
In addition to the standard planning comments, show the playground amenities on the plat. Pedestrian grade lighting proposed in the common areas with amenities is highly encouraged. Provide details on the lighting proposed along the access road on the south side of the subdivision. Considering the established single-family neighborhoods to the north and the proposed wildlife habitat conservation area along the south, your installed lighting will need to minimize glare, reduce light trespass, and reduce light pollution as well. Revise the legends provided. Not all the line types and symbols utilized are represented in the legends. Confirm if the proposed 6-foot wooden fence extends from Lot 22 to the west and then south towards Common Area 2. Revise the parcel area summary on sheet C2.0. It includes the common area number 1, but it doesn't include the other listed common areas. Update the common area and amenity summary to include common area 5. Adjust the acreage listed for each of those common areas in that chart, and revise the total acreage and percentage if necessary. Revise the private access driveway 1 label. The private access driveway is not marked by any arrows indicating its location on the plat.
Thank you. Any public comments regarding this rezone request? If you could come up to the podium, state your name and address. Thank you.
How you doing? My name is Angelo Mercado, and I represent the property, which is roughly 326 acres that back up against the west side of this development. And we just had a couple questions with the concerning the creek, the drainage that comes off of this subdivision onto our property, privacy fences that will run along there. It is still used for cattle and livestock at this moment and will continue to be for as long as the good Lord allows. So I think I have a couple bullet points, and if they could be answered, yea or nay, or however, that would answer how we agree, whether we disapprove or anything
Sure.
like that, or if we could have anything to do about it. The first one is the water drainage. I see on this map right here where the creek runs, do they plan on covering the creek and putting culvert in there, which changes that water drainage off of that property onto our property? Because it will have to, all the water will have to run west towards our property. Have they had that evaluated on where all that water is gonna go? Is it gonna run on our thing, on our piece of property or our plot? Because we have some historic trees up along there. Will it be possible to get an answer for that today, or?
Yes,
Katie?
sir. They are planning to keep that creek as exactly as it is and build the houses up on the top of the bank. We're really trying to minimize any impact to the creek
So
area.
how far off the creek?
Oh,
Is
I'm
that
not sure if I can
available?
give you an exact answer, but where we have designated that the floodplain is, all of the houses are back behind that.
So is that already documented?
Yes, sir.
It's in past planning?
Once we get past this meeting, yes.
May I take a few notes?
You may.
So it's been documented as far as floodplain?
Correct.
Watershed
Right.
already. So I'll just call it a floodplain and drainage.
Right, so they
Flood and
have
drainage
submitted a
plan.
drainage study and a flood study for this,
We don't,
yes.
the reason we have a bunch of historic trees
Sure.
on that property, and we plan on for the next at least
Sure.
10, 20 years and not even develop on it or nothing and keep it as, I know there is a preserve to the side of us, which we plan on keeping. I know they plan on keeping, and we would like to do the same thing, but in a much larger scale. And we just have a couple problems with building that amount of houses
Understood.
right behind off of us.
Right, yeah, and I talked to Mr. Mays on the phone a little bit
Mr.
about
Mays,
it.
correct?
Yep.
I represent Mr. Mays. So, the water drainage from the culvert in the creek and They're not gonna put a road over it or nothing like that?
They are gonna put a culvert in just for the road to cross. That's the only part. The
Bridge,
yeah.
correct? May I approach her?
Sure. If it's okay with her, Katie doesn't get approached every day like this. Our first sidebar.
So his question
We
was
had-
about where
because
the
we wanna-
culvert is
Just to say,
located.
let her speak to what you spoke about, so it'll be on record.
His question was about where the culvert would be located.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Because our job is gonna be, our long-term goal is to preserve the property as it is.
Of course.
Instead of just developing everything around it.
Understood.
Just preserving as long as humanly possible that area of property.
Sure.
right there, the old Bethel Heights. The watershed, she said she's got it taken care of. The water flow, do they have some kind of plan to slow that water down coming through there?
That's a really good question. We don't at this point, but I know that's been an ongoing issue in this part of the creek and then in all of town. So I think we could probably look at if there's something that we could do to kind of dissipate that energy, but there are no plans at this time because they were just going to leave it as is.
So how do we go about moving forward to have a plan to have, I know, I hate to say that it's not a large cost, but in the bigger scheme of things, it's a cost period, to slow that water coming down, because like I said, we have, once you cross over that property line, there is hundreds of historical sized trees documented in the state of Arkansas to be, I know that don't concern y'all, but we would like to preserve them trees for the future.
Absolutely, I agree with you. Yeah.
Washed out.
Yeah, just so you know, I think you understand this, that we can't put any more onyx on this developer to manage that water over anyone else. And so what they're required to do is not add any issues to our already existing water flow. And so we verify that that happens. But as far as putting onyx on them to solve water flow issues, we can't necessarily do that. And we could talk to them and encourage them, and maybe Katie can speak to this, but I think we're limited to some degree what improvements can be made on that
Yeah,
stream.
well, I think our main concern is we don't want some developer coming in and dealing with the water flow up into the property line, and then anything after that, it's up to the next guy.
Right.
As long as y'all have that addressed already.
Of course.
And aware of the guy next to
Of course.
him, that he's not just gonna dump all his water
Right.
onto our property, because it has been up to 10 to 12 feet, which we have 10 to 12 feet of
Sure.
drainage. But what happens after that? If we decide to develop or build a family house down there, down the line, we don't want to have it built on somewhere that could be flooded out by a neighborhood behind us.
Understood.
So I'm not necessarily rejecting the subdivision altogether. I just want to make sure that everything's taken care of, that we not taking on
Of course.
the full blunt of every bit of drop of water, because the water can only move west.
Right.
And I know the city has worked with us on 71 with dealing with some of that water, with enlarging the culverts and stuff going through there. So it sounds like she said they got it there. She will look into slowing the water down.
Right, so at this point, we have like a really good concept of the layout, but after they are approved for this meeting, they will go into full design and we will get like the complete details, how they are gonna build every road, how they're gonna build all the
And
storm
we will
drains.
receive
And
that.
that will all get approved before they can start construction. If you guys want to see a copy of it, you can reach out to our
No,
office
my
in the
main-
future.
Yeah, my main concern was as long as if the creek was gonna get covered, water diversion.
Yeah, no, we're very sensitive to this issue as well. Yeah.
And how far off of, because we had to regress that property to put in the manholes all the way down the side of the creek, all the way through back to their property. And we just want to know how far off the creek are they building? Are they building 10 foot off the creek, 20 foot off the creek?
Ferdy, I think we're all north of the sewer line, right? Yes. So all the houses are north of the
So
sewer
at
line,
least a
yeah.
minimum of 30 foot off of the creek.
Yes, sir.
50. Just a couple concerns. It's not an objection or nothing. We just. So, we just wanted to make sure that there was no overflow problems and that there was a proper drainage plan in place that didn't stop at his property line and just dumped it all on us. That is correct. There is one So, and we will be getting that in a timely manner?
I don't know that it would be automatically sent out, but you could come to the office and request a copy of
And
it.
how long will we need to do that?
It'll just be whenever Ferdy gets it into us, so, if you wanna leave us your contact info, and we might be able to reach out when we get further along.
So we got that, I only have like 5 bullet points to get over, and if they all meet, then I'll be fine. I think one of the questions was for the manhole covers in the creek, which I think he just answered was 50 feet. How far off the sewer lines? Is there any way, which I know this is, the guy I represent, I know you just said the amount of houses. I think the amount of houses, may I speak openly, or do I need to speak to you?
You can just speak right there in the mic.
His concern is that the amount of houses, the gentleman I represent, Mr. Mays, is the amount of houses and the water that is coming off the
Sure.
Council House. But it sounds like we got that all covered into one thing, water management,
Correct.
correct?
That's correct.
And that's being taken care of.
That's part of our design development oversight program process.
So there is some kind of plan in place as usual.
Correct.
of
Katie does a great
drainage
job.
Plan, not just dump it at the end of his property and then it
Right.
becomes the next man's thing.
And they won't be able to build any houses until they finish all of those infrastructure improvements up front, too.
Correct. And just a couple things we want to know, that, not know, but just to make aware and put on the record, that the 12 foot off of the property line, there is a natural spring there. It's no big deal. There's just a natural spring that's there. It's just been there forever. One of our main concerns is preserving the tree and the preserve, because we do still run cattle back there and all of that, cattle, horses and all of that. We just want to make sure that the tree roots ain't gonna be washed out on every time it rains, we back there dealing with it. Because there is a part on our property where we have to deal with a gate that lets water in, and that is mainly on us, since it falls where it falls, it's on us to keep being replaced. So if the
Right.
water volume increases, do we need to upgrade our gate and water?
You shouldn't have to. So they are going to keep the drainage as similar as it is currently as possible. I can't guarantee that any of it's going to be better, but it won't be worse. Because some of this is just part of the weather changes that we've been having as well. But the volume of water will increase, but it will be, over a longer period of time. So your gate shouldn't need to be
So-
increased right away.
Perez's Construction is aware that there is a water limitation gate, so.
I don't know
water
that
don't
we
just
know
come
about
flowing
that,
through
but
like a
we'll
river.
definitely have to look at that and
Yeah,
make
to
sure that,
it don't get washed out.
absolutely, yeah.
Causes a problem.
Okay, I'll make a note of that.
And that we have, the property split on that creek. Do we need to have a cattle bridge put in? The amount of water that's gonna change? Do we need to, so our cattle could cross from, right now, they don't really need no bridge to cross. Do we need to have a bridge put in there?
I hope you don't. I hope that they don't
I hope
stay
I don't need
like
to,
it is and they
because-
can just
because
keep
the calves
moving how
will
they
get
want to.
washed out, and they will go into the culvert, and we will
Yeah.
lose them. And every head of cattle is thousands of dollars at grown weight. The access, the city access, will that continue through? I'm looking right now at your plans, and it shows a dead stop. May I approach? Who needs to see this?
Yeah, you can come over. I'll look at it with you.
And we have it up on the screen as well.
So the reason we have this is because we have a rule about neighborhood connectivity. So in the future, if you guys were to decide to develop this, we could connect right on and we could have those neighborhoods connected. Or, for example, if the Huffman property to the north developed, we could connect that
This
way.
is
It could
already-
connect back to Monroe. But nothing, this is going to be built exactly like it is. It may not go anywhere, but it has the potential to, so we have that.
So are y'all gonna keep
Yeah.
the access gate there? That's
It'll,
down
yeah,
there?
it'll be
As long as
gated off.
everybody's aware that we have, because we have under our obligation, put in access so that the city could get from 71 Business through our property to the beginning of the west side of the property that you got on there. So there is a gate there now. That
Okay, I
brings
see.
me to my
Yeah.
next thing. Well, everywhere else, we have allowed people to develop along the back of our property, there is a privacy fence. So we was hoping that the council folks, would allow that approximately 557 foot of privacy fence be put there so that the back of our property don't turn into a dog walking park or, dogs getting out, animals chasing the cows and, because right now it's just barbed wire fence for a farm because it's undeveloped. Now that it becomes developed, it'll be the end of a neighborhood up against barbed wire if we could get some help with the privacy fence that run the rest. Now, this development here that's already here, the development that's already there, in the north of it, there is a privacy fence. So is if there's some way that we could work with somebody to get the privacy fence extended, the 57, yep, that's our property, which I think is about 557 feet of privacy fence continued.
And I believe his development plan actually called for installing, so the northern lots will have a 6-foot privacy fence that will be installed for theirs. And for the ones on the west, I think it's a reasonable ask that we could ask the developer if they would be willing to do a privacy fence there too.
Yeah, I think it's reasonable too, because we have had problems where animals have come through there and they've killed $600 or $700 calves and stuff from there just to have there. So my main concern today, I have no objection to it, as long as we have city access, water control, which we have, like I said about the water gate, we keep that. If it comes down, gets knocked down, too much water comes through there and overflows it, we found with that, we were dealing with that. But as long as that, once we cross to where our property lines cross over, somebody's there to deal with it and not just flowing all their water down to our property.
Of course.
And onto our flood plain, which is actually right around that area. And then my last one, like I said, was the privacy fence was, I think it's approximately 557 feet, which covers this whole west side of it. Now, I don't know if that'll stop anything. I'm not, like I said, I'm not objecting to anything. If we come to agreement on some of this stuff, there is no problem at all, because like I said, there might be further in the future of us developing some of that land ourselves, So, but as far as that, I think that's all the questions and objections I have. And when a timeline we would be able to get those answered before the next meeting.
Sounds good.
The approval meeting.
So I think we're all on the same page for the water. I think, as Katie spoke to you earlier, that we'll know more about the specifics of that as we get further through the design process if this is approved.
Do we have a date around when?
There's never, no, who knows? They got a year. I mean, so.
Yeah, because I was figuring this was gonna be about 2028, somewhere around there.
We don't know. We'll approve it, and then they can work at whatever pace they want, but it'll have a year from this approval date.
We're actually planning to get started on that as soon as we get the construction drawings approved.
Which
We
could
come up-
be, this gentleman said a year?
I'm just saying the approval lasts a year. So
Yeah, so
I don't
when will
know,
this
I don't
approval
know
be
if you've been around
scheduled?
development in Northwest Arkansas, but it never goes as fast as anybody wants it to. So
Yes. So brings me back to when is that a possible?
I think your
3
bet-
months, 2 months?
I would say check back every month and just say, hey, how's that process going? You're gonna have to be the squeaky wheel in this situation. And it sounds like you don't have a problem doing that.
I just don't want the water to be forgotten about, because then once that water starts coming, rushing
Of course.
across there, as far as it is, because I know on the map here, but there's more around the map.
course.
That goes around there. As far as that's concerned, if they could take all that into consideration, understanding that we have that property there that we are trying to preserve, and that that's a lot of water. We already take the water coming off of the northern subdivision, which is trash. It costs about $5,000 a year just to clean the trash coming out of the northern subdivision, that because of the way the law is written that we have to deal with, not that it's written, just the way that it was approved without insight, that all the trash and stuff that comes through there for the cattle and stuff that we have now. So, as I understand it right now, I just need to check back with y'all every month to
Correct,
see when they break ground.
correct. Just stay informed, that way you're up to date on what the status and how the design is proposed.
And if I have to, bring it back to council members.
Of course.
All right, I think I have every question answered I need answered. I appreciate it.
Thank you for your time, sir.
You have a good day.
If
You
you have
as
any other
well.
questions, just give us a call. Roderick has my number.
Any other public comments?
Sharon, do you want to read the public comment for record that we took in today via phone call?
And we received some feedback today from somebody via a phone call that we noted, and I think we gave everybody a copy, and we will update it for the packet. But this comment reads, "This waiver should not be approved. All necessary improvements, including curbs, gutters, and sidewalks, should be completed along the entire length of the property. No waivers should be permitted for this development. Children and families in the area rely on existing sidewalks along North Oak Street. Granting a waiver for the required street improvements is inappropriate and poses safety risks for the neighborhood. The city of Springdale should uphold the requirements for this development and require all street improvements." And this comment was from Jerry and Pam Medley at 3687 North Oak Street that came in today.
Thank you for that. Any other public comment? Commissioners, any questions from you?
I just have one quick question on the development. So is the main purpose, just looking at this, like typically we think of a PUD as being something that's going to add, like seeking a change to a PUD would be adding additional amenities and things that'll really brighten up the neighborhood beyond just, is it just the purpose of creating the smaller or narrower lots? Is that the main goal?
Well, the PUD allows us to do, you know, the layout that's shown there with the common area, the streets being, you know, not your normal just 30-foot wide residential street, but, you know, creating a common area in the middle there. And we also do trees along the entire street. And, you know, we provide some amenities along with the subdivision. And that also allows us to then make narrow lots that are 40-foot wide.
Thank you. Anyone else?
And as you mentioned, on top of that question she asked, moving forward, you'll provide, either a pickleball court or playground, et cetera, on those common spaces, right?
We'll be more specific as to what we can propose there if you.
And I agree with her. To me, that's one of the main reasons for a PUD, right? Those amenities.
Yeah, we made a list, I think, in the development plan as far as what we could consider in different areas, playground, but we don't know exactly where we'll put them yet.
And we will have to have more detail on some of those, spec sheets, materials, placement, some of those specific details that come along with those extra features of PUD.
Okay.
And so we would need a revised development plan in some of these details.
You mentioned your development strategy, a natural walking trail. Can you explain to me what that is?
That means that we would just open up some of the areas that make it walkable or, accessible, but not necessarily making a 5-foot wide paved sidewalk.
Well, no crush aggregate, nothing that shows, hey, this is a trail we encourage you to walk around this space, feel comfortable doing that.
Just like a mowed trail, you'd mow a path that they could walk through or something like that?
We could mow it.
Yeah.
We'll do a mowed trail, that's what I was looking for.
My point of view is, I'm looking at this, there's not near enough information in this packet for a PUD for me.
Okay.
When I see a PUD, I want to see all the details how I add more details. Usually those are in front of us at this meeting. And the fact that none of that's in front of us and that you got this tremendous wetland, natural habitat, and there's no trail system, there's no lookouts, there's no interaction. You mentioned in verbiage, but there's nothing on your designs that say you're going to incorporate that. To the gentleman that was here speaking earlier about the water flow, there's no comment about anything with that. So it looks like to me, you're just trying to get as many houses in this square footage as you can, which I'm not opposed to development. I think development is fine, but to me, to present this as a PUD, it just falls short in my estimation.
Okay. It's not a big area as far as a conservation area, so.
Sure. It's
not like we
over
can
an
have-
acre.
Yeah,
Most of your
1
common space is a natural reserve area, which is what you need to qualify for the PUD to begin with. And
Yeah.
yet you spent zero time in developing that.
Exactly what we want to do as far as layout, yeah.
So Commissioner, if it's up to you, I'd like to vote for the PUD first. This will be called for the vote. Huh? For the rezone first, because if it fails, none of the rest matter.
Can we table it, or if it gets voted down now, can we come back with a revision?
Sharon, will you speak to that?
Yeah, you can, the applicant, you can request that it be tabled here, but if it is denied tonight, then you would have to go through the appeal process. But you have the right to request to be tabled.
I think that's what we'll do then, if that's
Table?
the feeling of
Okay.
the commission, yeah.
All right, is that what you want to
Table
do?
it, then come back with a plan that we can all feel good about.
Yeah, if you're presenting a PUD, we'd like to see a lot more detail of what
Information,
you're
yeah.
doing, because that's what a PUD's intended to do. If you want just more density, there's a SF3 that you can bring forth instead of the SF2 it currently is. There's other ways to get to density if that's what you're wanting. But if you want a PUD, then it should have some things in it that this does not currently have.
Okay,
So you want to table it?
yes, please.
Okay, thank you. Next up is R26-01. This is New Hope Fellowship in Northwest Arkansas. This is a rezone request from A1 to P1 by Josh Landreth.
Yes, thank you. Pretty simple. We're just looking to rezone the property that we own on Cary Smith Road from A1 to P1 for future development. We have not started a development plan yet, so we're not there to that point. We're just trying to get it kind of ahead of the game before we get to that point.
Thank you for that. Staff comments?
This rezoning request is in keeping with the following goals and policies of the comprehensive land use plan as recommended for approval. Uses that commonly have moderate to large-scale assemblies of people, such as churches, funeral homes, membership organizations, and other institutions, should be appropriately located on adequate-sized parcels with sufficient space to accommodate the off-street parking and accessory needs. Such uses should be located to minimize any adverse or undue significant burden on adjacent or adjoining land uses, as well as that portion of the street system.
Thank you. Any public comments regarding this rezone request? Commissioners, any questions? If none, this is a call for the vote.
Call for the vote.
Thank you. I pass it 7-0. Thank you.
Staff will prepare an ordinance that is going to go to City Council on January 27th, and you're recommended to attend.
Okay,
Thank you.
very much.
Next up is R26-02, Robert Lee and Deanna Waltrip. This is a request from A1 to C1, presented by Tim Menier.
Hello. My name is Tim Menier with Masters of Disasters Plumbing, and we were here to see about getting this property rezoned from A1 to C1.
Staff comments?
This rezoning request is in keeping with the following goals and policies of the comprehensive land use plan and is recommended for approval. Assure adequate land allocation for commercial areas of sufficient size and proper locations, and encourage the development of small-scale neighborhood retail and service uses at intersections of collector and arterial streets at the edge of logical neighborhood areas or within the neighborhoods where suitable sites exist and conditions are appropriate to balance compatibility with convenience.
Any public comments regarding this request? Commissioners, any questions? Is this where your current building is?
We're 2 lots north of that.
Okay. There other further south of that?
South, sorry, yeah.
Oh, you sure? Any other questions? If none, this will be called for the vote.
Call for the vote.
Thank you. I pass this 7-0.
Perfect. Thank you all very
Staff
much.
will prepare an ordinance that's going to go to City Council on January 27th, 6 PM here, recommended to attend.
Okay, thank you so much.
Next agenda item is R26-03, it's Sammy Haddell. Request is from C2 to C6, presented by Bates and Associates.
Eli LaSalle here from Bates and Associates. Yeah, this, I believe, is, I don't know exactly how much of this I should present as far as the land use plan, but this is, I believe, consistent with the comprehensive land use plan of the city of Springdale. It's shown as regional commercial in the land use plan map, and the comprehensive land use plan states that those regional commercial are to encourage the development of regional commercial areas that accommodate a variety of wholesale retail, service, and office use, where the highest traffic volumes and greatest utility demands can be served, and more extensive outdoor display of materials will be expected and permitted. And that's page 9 of the comprehensive land use plan. And the rezone that we're requesting is from C2 to C6, which is specifically to allow those outdoor displays, which were mentioned in that comprehensive land use plan.
Staff comments?
Well, thank you. Sounds like you got most of my staff comments out of the way. Appreciate it. This rezoning request is in keeping with the following goals and policies of the comprehensive land use plan and is recommended for approval. Improve the city's economic base and tax structure through through the promotion of healthy, stable commercial concentrations and encourage the development of regional commercial areas that accommodate a variety of wholesale, retail, service, and office uses where the highest traffic volume and greatest utility demands can be served, and more extensive outdoor display of materials will be expected and permitted and have frontage or access to I-49 or a state highway.
Any public comments regarding this rezone request? Commissioners, any questions or comments?
I only have one question, just based on like the image that's up right now. And I know we haven't seen a plan for this yet, but there's significant portion of the site is floodplain. Is that going to be managed, I assume?
So that we have looked at. It is not FEMA defined like zone. It's in the.
Hasn't been studied fully yet.
Yes,
So,
it's in, it's in the not fully studied FEMA flood hazard area. So it's not like a designated floodplain that has base flood elevations assigned to it. We've gone through and looked at it, and it's before the creek fully forms, but there is a section at the back of the site that's kind of a defined channel. And we have looked at that. That's, if you look at this plan, that west or east side of the site, where the parking lot stops and behind the building, we've got pretty substantial grading just to try to slightly further channelize that. And it's before the channel has fully formed, so it's not 100% a creek bed yet, but we're going to try to just shape it a little bit better, because as it is, the only reason is it extends that far into the property is just because it's kind of a like wide, flat channel, and we're gonna try to slightly shape it better.
and it's kind of misleading because those flood maps make it look like it's coming straight through the property. Someone has done some grading on this property at some point, and really has kind of channelized that and routed it right through the middle of the property. But yeah, they'll have to have a floodplain development application. They'll have to build their building high enough to be safe from flooding. And we did have a flood study, I think, that someone did for a previous development that established some BFE, so they can use that and update it as they need to.
Thank you. I just wanted to make sure that the rezoning made sense for this type of use on the space because of,
Right. And as much as possible, they're gonna keep it as, out of the floodplain. This is one of those old maps. I've been looking at some of the newer data, and it shows a lot less of a floodplain through there. So hopefully we can define that better.
No other further questions, this is a call for the vote.
Call for the vote.
Thank you. Passes 7-0.
Staff will prepare an ordinance that goes to council on the 27th. Thank you.
Next up are preliminary plats, replats, and final plats. First up is PP 26-01, Don Tyson Gateway. This is a preliminary plat with a variance and a waiver. Variance is from maximum slope requirement. And there's also a waiver of street improvements, sidewalk on Don Tyson Parkway, presented by Clint Carstner of CK Civil Engineering LLC. Hello, sir.
Hello, how's it going?
Sorry about butchering that last name of yours.
No problem, it's a tough one. All right, so we've got a street connection that we're doing for Chester Avenue to Don Tyson. The intent is that the property owner is going to sell off the off lots once the connection's made. So we're just trying to get that connection formed so they can make those, makes it more appealing to people that are going to put commercial zones in.
Staff comments?
In addition to standard comments, if the variance and the waiver respectively are approved by commission, if the waiver is recommended and approved by council, they need to be indicated along the plat somewhere. For the north arrows, just correct all the north arrows on the plat, add adjacent property zoning to sheet 2. Further right-of-way dedication is required along Don Tyson, and I know you've been in communication with Katie on that. Indicate the gross site area, acreage per lot, and adjusted acreage after that additional right-of-way is dedicated. And we do need the surveyor certificate of accuracy to sheet 2, and add the reference file number for the existing Chester Place right-of-way.
Engineering comments. Add notes to the plat specifying which lots are required to provide their own detention at the time of development. Street stubs to the east and west are required, so we need to add some notes to this effect so that connectivity is maintained when those lots develop. There's an existing stub out on the west side of the McDonald's, and then we'll establish one further to the west. The maximum grade within 100 feet of an intersection is 4%. This property has quite a bit of grade to it, so haven't been able to make that 4%, but we're still staying below our 10%. Really, all we want to make sure is that when we widen Don Tyson and put that extra lane in there, we're not just going to have everyone scraping and bottoming out. So I'm going to try and fix those grades as much as possible, but I am okay with the variance for going above 4%. Let's see. I'm still working on getting you that CAD file for the future Don Tyson right-of-way. And a 10-foot sidewalk is required on Don Tyson, for which a waiver has been requested, and this is part of the Southside Intersections Bond Project.
Katie, is a waiver request, is that because of the widening of Don Tyson in the future?
Well, and currently there is a sidewalk, it's just
Correct.
only 5 feet. So, but yes, we don't want them doing something
Yes.
that we'll have to remove in the
Yeah,
future.
makes sense.
Yep.
Any public comments regarding this preliminary plat? Commissioners, any questions? The first will be preliminary plat motion subject to staff comments.
Motion subject to staff comments.
Second.
Thank you. That is approved, 7-0. Next, the variance for the maximum slope requirement. This is a call for the vote.
Call for the vote.
Thank you. Passes 7-0 as well. The last item is a waiver of street improvements, sidewalk on Don Tyson Parkway. This is a motion to forward to City Council with recommendation of denial or approval of this waiver.
Motion to forward to city council for approval.
Thank you. Thank you. That also passes 7-0. Thank you, sir.
All right, thank you.
Staff will prepare an ordinance for the waiver that goes to council on the 27th, Clint.
Next up is RP 26-01, Dixie Industrial Center, Lot 4, presented by Allen Reed and Associates.
Good evening. My name is Alan Reed. I'm here tonight representing Dwayne Miller, Miller Flooring Company. And we are asking the Planning Commission to allow us to replat the Dixie Industrial Park subdivision, center subdivision, and, you know, hopefully get Lot 4 taken out of that subdivision. Also, I believe we have some other people in the audience, Allie Carr from Craft and Toll, who will be in charge of the development engineering, and William Mertens of the Mertens Law Firm, who has been helping us and working with the city attorney's office here to make sure that we get everything done strictly by the city ordinances. And I'm in charge of the surveying part of it, and I created the plat, which shows the area that we're trying to remove.
Sure. Thank you for that. Staff comments?
I will just note that this is a very unique piece of property. As you can see, the blue highlighted area is within a commercial subdivision. And he also has that portion that is outside. So it's a very unique piece of property, and we appreciate all of the coordination with our office and the city attorney's office that you guys have done.
In addition to the standard planning comments, is it time for me?
Yes, please go.
A declaratory judgment action was filed with the Circuit Clerk of Washington County, allowing Lot 4 to be removed from the subdivision. Removal of Lot 4 is contingent upon either obtaining the written consent from all the property owners within the subdivision, or a conclusion in favor of the declaratory judgment.
Okay. Thank you. Sounded very important, too. I'm glad you got to speak to that. Any public comment regarding this request? Commissioners, any questions? Not, this will be a motion subject to staff comments.
Motion subject to staff comments. Second.
Thank you. Passes 7-0. Best of luck in the courts.
All right. And then if you will get with the planning office, and we will find the best council date to bring this forward, okay?
Okay, thanks.
Next, we move forward to public hearing form-based code. First item is FB 26-01, Hauser Family Revocable Trust. This is a request to rezone from NR1 to NC2, presented by Jake Chavis. Hello again.
Hello again.
How are you, sir?
Doing good.
Good.
Doing good. Glad to be back. My name's Jake Chavis. I'm with Odyssey Engineering and Surveying, representing the Hausers on this project. We thank you for listening to this rezoning again. We are requesting NC2 for several reasons. We think that NC2 is more consistent with the city's adopted plans. The future land use plan says that this is a medium-density residential area. This property is also kind of on the corner of Huntsville Avenue there, kind of along an arterial type road there. And we also think that this is a perfect transition zone from that more, higher intense use along Huntsville to the more lower density residential single-family housing to the north. Just wanted to kind of touch briefly on some of the concerns we've heard from residents in the past on this. Number one being traffic issues. This development, kind of by its nature, is, when utilizing the trail system and being in close proximity to downtown, the idea behind this development is that residents will use the trail system and will be able to walk to work downtown, ultimately reducing the traffic in the area. And yeah, again, we fully intend to utilize that trail for bike and pedestrian access. Another concern that we've heard is the density. While NC2 allows for more housing options than RN1, the idea here is infill, not necessarily density. We're looking to kind of, make more efficient use of space rather than just cram units into a certain area. And that's kind of the differences you get in between NC2, which allows for 3-4 plexes and flats, rather than just a duplex which is allowed in RN1 right now. And again, in line with density, this falls in line with the future land use map that the city of Springdale has adopted. The other kind of concern that we have heard from neighbors is ensuring that the historic character of this neighborhood is preserved. And we understand and we recognize the importance of the historic homes in the area, but we believe that the regulations in the C district will force us as developers to enhance the character and not hinder the character of the neighborhood. We think that this request brings the property into alignment with, current city plans. It supports walkability and respects the character of the neighborhood, and we think that this development will enhance the neighborhood. And I'm here for any questions if you have any.
Thank you, sir. Staff comments?
This rezoning request is in keeping with the following goals and policies of the comprehensive land use plan and is recommended for approval. allow an increase to medium or high-density residential land, and allow an increase to medium or high-density residential use when land value prevents economic development of low-density residential. And multifamily housing should be developed at a density and scale that is compatible with the surrounding neighborhoods, available utilities, and roadway capacity.
Thank you. Any public comments regarding this request? If you will, come to the forward, state your name and address. Thank you.
Jeff Bowen, 604 Mill Street. I'm next door to the property, and I'm just trying to get some clarity on.
Sure.
I know last time that they requested one, everybody was kind of upset on the street about trying to keep the density down, and we were assured it was, only to duplexes, so keep it kind of low over there. And now it sounds like threeplexes or fourplexes. And then also, an additional question I have on this NC2, does that mean that it can also be commercial buildings, or are there plans for that, or, it seems like there's a lot of things that could go into
Sure.
NC2, so I don't know if the plan is there a plan made to what is actually going to be there?
I'll make a brief statement. So NZ is dictated more by form than use. So it's more about what the product looks like than what it's used for. So just know that going in. Go ahead, Jaren, if you have more things.
Mark is correct, but also this does allow for some mixed use. So there is the potential for some commercial uses. And now this site, just the size of it and some of the topography limits some of what they're going to be able to do. And the city is going to encourage some sort of trail-oriented development. Right now, we don't have an official development plan submitted, but they've indicated to lean towards residential. But I don't have an official plan to share.
And then also, I guess, speaking of, I think water is a big topic tonight, but I guess, to me, it looks like maybe about half of it's in the floodplain, I'm not sure, but I was also wondering if they're just gonna use that for parking down there, or fill that in, or, build it up.
I will say, I think Jake can, if you'll come answer that and speak to it, but the city is going to encourage, because over there by that floodplain is also the Razorback Greenway, and so we want to encourage some sort of participation, enhance that greenway.
Yeah, we're going to do our very best not to even touch the floodplain. That's the goal right now. We haven't done any design. I really don't think we'll have to get into it at all. That's all I have.
Thank you, sir. Any other comments? Commissioners, any questions or comments?
I guess my one question, and I imagine the neighbors are wondering, you see this last month and then it kind of came back, why you didn't go for this zoning originally?
So, we spent several months kind of talking back and forth with staff on this. When we submitted the rezoning request for the last zoning, that was what we thought staff was going to support. Around that same time, there was another rezoning request for a similar area that you guys passed NC2 for last month. And around that same time, I think there was some changes in policy or amendments to the seed map. Is that right? Something like that, where the staff decision was able to support NC2 now versus back then it wasn't necessarily able to support NC2. And that's our understanding of that. So I always advise my clients, don't go against staff recommendation when you're bringing something to planning commission. We typically don't try to do that.
Any other comments?
No, I will say staff's recommendation was NC2 actually from the very beginning. And I think originally the applicants had sought a multifamily zoning. And the seed was a recommendation by staff just because of that neighborhood character, right? It would just complement the neighborhood better than a multifamily zoning, which would take a lot of parking and open space.
And my 2 cents worth is, I think this project could be a perfect example of, we need to stop thinking about what something is used for, more what it looks like. Because I think in neighborhoods like this, that's so adjacent to the downtown center, the aesthetics and what it looks like is critical, not necessarily what it's been used for. If there are no more comments, this will be call for the vote.
Call for the vote.
Tie. That passes 7-0. Thank you, sir.
Staff will prepare an ordinance that goes on the 27th. You're recommended 210.
Next section is Board of Adjustment, B26-01, Sean and Gina Ritchie. This is a variance for increased height on permanent accessory structure from 16 foot to 23, presented by the applicants.
Good afternoon.
Hello, how are y'all?
Pretty good.
Good.
So the reason why we're needing to go from 16-foot limit to the 23-foot that we request is later on in the next few years, we're going to be buying either a fifth wheel or a diesel pusher, and we want someplace to properly store that because something like that's pretty expensive. You want to keep it out of the weather.
Sure.
So that's what we're going shooting for.
Okay, thank you for that. Any staff comments?
My only comment was about how you're going to access it. Are you guys planning to pave a driveway back there?
That's under consideration as of right now.
Okay, so just before you expand that driveway in the front yard, come see engineering, we'll get you a permit. We don't permit the driveway in the backyard, but we will if you expand it in the front.
What do you mean?
I'm sorry, I know that's really confusing. So like, basically in front of your fence to the street, that's where we will permit what you can expand the driveway, how much pavement you can put down. Once you get back behind the fence into the backyard, that's for y'all to figure out, yep.
Oh, okay.
Yep. So just call engineering if you have any questions. I know a lot of people will end up kind of doing that triangle to get to the backyard like that, and there's just a quick little permit for that.
Sounds good, thank you.
Any public comments regarding this request? Commissioners, any questions?
My only question would be, don't have any neighborhood covenants or anything that would prevent this, that would
It's
conflict
all
with the city?
expired.
How big is your lot there?
It's like .88.
Okay, yeah, so large. If no other questions, this is a call for the vote.
Call for the vote.
Thank you. Passes 7-0. Thank you.
You guys have a good night. Thank you.
Next up is B26-03, Courtney Hollingsworth Auto Expansion, variance from commercial design standards for landscaping and screening, presented by Kevin Escobar.
I'm not Kevin.
No, you're not.
I'm wanting a variance on the north side of the property. There's drainage ditches there. I'm gonna have hard enough time keeping sod, not any shrubbery. because
Sir, can you share your name with us just for the
I'm
record?
sorry, Burl Hollingsworth.
Thank you.
I'm the owner of Courtney Hollingsworth.
Of course.
Auto Shop.
Thank you. Please continue.
And the east side, there's a large drainage ditch that the water gets pretty high and it'll wash it all out regardless of what I put in there. So I'm wanting to put sod all the way around and get it stapled down good so I can keep it mowed.
Thank you. Staff comments, if any?
No, I will say that staff went out there. I think Sarah had visited once or twice and worked with them and tried to walk around. So we appreciate your cooperation with our office.
Any public comments regarding this request? Commissioners, any questions from you?
I've got a lot of comments tonight, apparently.
Yeah, go ahead, Jennifer. I just started saying, Jennifer, what do you got?
I guess my main question on this is sod versus some of this. I would feel like as far as drainage and preventing runoff, that other materials might be more effective at holding the dirt in place than just sod, because sod, I was just curious if that makes sense to approve this.
We've studied that the sod, if it's stapled down good, we're going to use Bermuda grass sod. Once it gets started, hardly anything will wash it out. And that's what we're proposing to use.
Right, trees would, soak up more water. The roots help hold the bank together. So trees are definitely welcome in this area. I completely see your point, though, about how you're going to maintain these since you have that big safety fence around the side.
Look at the ditch and see the trash, how it washes plumb up to the fence. I've got a hard enough time keeping it cleaned up. Back part in the city don't clean theirs up. And nobody up the neighborhood does but me.
When did you put the fence in?
Month back. 2 months?
Mr. Chair, this is a large-scale development plan that is currently under construction. They have not received their certificate of
Gotcha.
occupancy. And so upon final inspection, these were items that were incomplete on a punch list. And so therefore, the property owner is here before you to request that variance.
Thank you for that, Sarah. Yeah, I mean, I would love to make a riparian way around this, but I'm not sure this is the project to do that.
I mean, if you have someone to maintain it, you could do some really cool things, but,
You could.
you know, and just unfortunately with the nature of the uses in this area, may not last long.
Any other questions or comments? If none, go ahead.
I was going to add that the screening variance is because they did not provide a break in the fence line every 50 feet. The applicant stated due to the nature of their business and security purposes, they preferred to have a opaque metal
Sure.
fence.
How tall is that fence?
8 foot.
Thank you for that. And I'm assuming you store cars in there? Yeah. I do like the full cutoff light fixtures, though. Congratulations on that. Job well done. If there's no further questions, this is a call for the vote.
Call for the vote.
Thank you. Passes 7-0. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Next up is W26-02 Paramount Metals. This is a waiver request for street improvements on Highway 265, CK Civil Engineering. Mr. Clint's back up.
Hello. We brought this forward with a waiver on Old Wire a couple months ago. It got to city council, and there was a lot of concern that there was no sidewalk on Old Wire Road. So what we've done is we agreed to put the sidewalk on Old Wire Road, and then our waiver is to request removal of street improvements on Old Missouri. RDOT didn't like the dialing in of the 5-foot sidewalk addition either. They said if they didn't like it once we put it in, we'd have to tear it out and do 10-foot all new. So this seemed like a good compromise for everyone.
So you're now putting a sidewalk on Old Wire, not putting aside or increasing or editing the sidewalk on Old Missouri, is that correct?
Yes.
And before we approved the opposite, I think is what we did.
Yeah.
Very good.
So procedurally, we have to introduce a new waiver for that other side since it wasn't included in the previous one.
I'm assuming this is your site plan. This is fairly representative of what you have there.
Yes. I think the Bay Area School is on the Old Wire Road side, and that's why they wanted the sidewalk.
Understood. That actually makes good sense. Any public comments regarding this waiver request? Commissioners, any questions or comments? If none, this is a motion to forward to City Council with recommendation of denial or approval of this new waiver.
Motion to forward to City Council with recommendation to approve the waiver. Second.
Thank you. Passes 7-0. Thank you for building us a sidewalk. Next,
Staff will prepare an ordinance to go along with the other waiver on the 27th, okay?
next are 4 approval requests for extending projects. If you guys are okay with it, I'd like to take all 4 at once. Big call for the vote.
Call for the vote on all 4.
Thank you.
Change the,
All 4 extension approvals have been approved. Thank you for that, gentlemen and ladies. Next up is Planning Director's Report.
All right, so good news, we're hiring. We have a planning technician who's gonna start Monday, so we'd be excited to get more staff on the team and introduce you to that. The Merry Christmas Springdale that was on December 16th, thank you to everyone who attended. And shout out to Brent and Ray who were extra special winners that night. The planning. I do want to switch prizes. And the planning holiday party on Emma, thank you very much for everybody who attended and participated, and I included a couple little pictures. This month at one of the January city councils, we're gonna propose a resolution to seek reappointment for two of our planning commissioners, Mark Cloud and Chris Hussein. And then next month, in February, we will have election of officers on our agenda, once again, just to be thinking about it. Work session update, so January on the 20th of this month, Ernest Kate, our Springdale City Attorney, is gonna join us and provide a little refresher on responsibilities of planning commissioners. We try to do that annually. And then the February one will be a future land use planning, so get your planner hat on for February. And then I provided an update for all the December council items that we heard, and even that first one actually includes that sidewalk waiver where it was tabled and then passed again. So any updates I'm going to try to include for you for the outcome. And thank you all.
That's great, by the way. I love that. Thanks for adding that. For that, I say we adjourn. Thank you all.